5 things to disclose when selling your house. Clients selling a house often ask us what has to be disclosed to potential buyers. And today we're going to be talking about these requirements. I'll highlight the 5 things you need to disclose when selling your house. A disclosure document can be important for both home buyers as well as sellers. When an owner sells a property, these are typically required to disclose information in a written document. In general, a disclosure document is supposed to provide details about property's condition that might negatively affect its value. Sellers who willfully conceal information can be sued and potentially convicted of a crime, so don't do that. Selling a property as is will usually not exempt a seller from disclosures. The requirements vary based on state and local laws, and today we're going to be talking about state California requirements. Number 1, the form. Every person who sells real estate in California must complete and provide the buyer with a required form. This form is commonly called the transfer disclosure statement. When filling out the transfer disclosure statement, you will tell your buyer all sorts of information about the property. The age of the roof, whether the property is attached to a public sewer system, or even if there are noise problems in the neighborhood. It is very important to fill out your form truthfully and completely, or you might find yourself being sued by an angry buyer who belatedly discovers that sticky garage door that you never got around to fixing. All right, number 2. Property taxes. When you sell a home in California, the local assessor will release its value and the taxes on the property will change. As a result, you do not have to tell your buyer what you are paying in taxes at the time of purchase. However, you do have to provide the buyer with a document that includes particular language telling them that they may be subject to a supplemental tax assessment. The requirements for the disclosure are set out in the California Civil Code section 1102.6c, toxic substances. Filling out the transfer disclosure statement is not the end of your obligation to disclose things to your buyer. You are also required to tell your buyers about any material defect that could harm the value of the property that is not readily apparent to the buyer. That means if you know about a harmful substance in your house, such as lead-based paint, for example, you have to disclose it. Some of these substances require particular disclosure in order to comply with the law. So be sure to check with your realtor to make certain you are in compliance. If you do not have a realtor, be sure to contact me, Wesley Craig, at 408-772-0087 or schedule a Zoom call with me at zoomwesley.com. Number 4. Death in the property. In California, sellers must tell the buyer if a death in the home has occurred at any time in the past 3 years. This includes death by most natural causes. Certain type of deaths, like those with AIDS, cannot be disclosed as far as the actual cause of death. If a buyer comes out and asks you about a death that occurred at any time in the property, even if it's longer than 3 years ago, the seller is required to provide a truthful response. So you do not have to disclose that a death happened within the last 3 years, but if the buyer asks, you do have to disclose it. Number 5, water heater strap. California has earthquakes. We know that. If you live in California, we know we have earthquakes. And surprising amount of damage can be done by a water heater tipping over when the ground shakes. Electrical shorts can start fires, hot water can damage your property, and even falling tank itself can cause a lot of damage. As a result, any seller of real estate that contains a water heater must certify to the buyer that the water heater has been braced, anchored, or strapped to resist falling due to earthquake motion. The certification is often part of the purchase sale agreement or homeowner's guide to earthquake safety that your realtor should provide to the buyer. Even if a particular disclosure is not required in your area, sellers who have information about their house that could make a buyer unhappy might want to disclose it anyway. Remember, Disclose, disclose, disclose. In addition to the moral reasons for being honest with your prospective buyers and the desire to avoid the expense and hassle of a lawsuit. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It's free. Hit it. That would be awesome. That would help out the channel. And if you like seeing videos like this and want to see more in the future, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.